We are back. We are live. It has been forever and a day that Avio's Journey Fiverr Fridays have gone live. I think it's had to be over a year or more. And I am so excited to be live again in my new studio. Welcome back. This is Avio's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica, and this show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business, sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. Well, something different about us, me becoming live now, is that we're in, hey David, we are in, we're in Facebook. Should be in Avio's Journey. We should be live on YouTube. We should also be live. What's up, Tom? We also should be live on LinkedIn and Twitter. So I'm excited about that. You know, I wish Instagram could get their stuff together so I could link it through Restream, but unfortunately they still do not. But I'm very excited to finally be live again. Flyer here. It's good to see you too. So if you guys remember Fiverr Fridays, welcome back. If you are new, basically how this works is I come on every Friday at 1 p.m. and I talk about some stuff that's going on Fiverr and voiceover and how you can grow your business. And then for the rest of the session, ask your questions, post them in the chat. I've got this little cool chat box that shows me all the different places. Well, at least it shows me Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter, I believe. But it does not show, well, it shows LinkedIn. I don't know if it's showing me Twitter at the moment. So, you know, it's kind of one of the, hey, Alden, happy Friday, man. It's kind of one of those things where it's still a work in progress, but very excited nonetheless to be coming to you live. Today we had an interesting news. What's up, man? Good to see you, Scott. We had some interesting news pop up on Fiverr that I think is important for the whole industry, but especially for us on Fiverr. So I can remember a couple of probably a couple months ago, maybe 4 months ago. It was right before I was moving, or right as I moved, so about 4 to 6 months ago. Fiverr had contacted me. Thanks, Zach. It is different behind me. Things are different. A little more spacious behind me. But so Fiverr had contacted me and said, hey, listen, we were wondering, you know, like what ideas and stuff you had, to the voiceover community, especially revolving around AI. So, I was talking to some of the higher ups there at Fiverr, and, I said, listen, I mean, AI, right, for us has come out in a way that just kind of takes our jobs instead of partnering with us to where we voice actors can use artificial intelligence to grow our businesses and in turn make the world a better place. So, Fiverr came out with this idea that, hey, listen, one of the biggest issues we have on the platform is that so many people are all from around the world. So because of that, we can't seem to get the samples, like if, it's 3 a.m. and we're sleeping and somebody's contacting us and wants, a sample of our voice, or what does it sound like if we read their script or something. So Fiverr, trying to move forward with technology, decided to go ahead and implement this idea. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks, David. I think I apologize if I say your name wrong, Darus Chaku, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. It's good to see you. Thank you. My day's been going wonderful. Thank you, guys. So they have implemented this. They've started it. They came out with the article today saying, it's been launched. It's definitely in beta. It's not for everyone by far. And so far, it's not gotten much. Well, there's no analytics, at least for the people in beta. You can't see any. So there's not really much that we've seen yet, but just like many things that Fiverr rolls out, some things work really well quickly, some things don't, some things take a long time. The premise behind it, right, is that if you're unable to interact with the customer, or give them a read, and a lot of voice actors don't want to, right, because they feel like they're going to take the work and use it instead of paying you, then this AI could help. But I think what's going on now is that it doesn't seem to be really getting a lot of traction, at least at the moment. But that doesn't mean that it won't pick up. It is something for us to pay attention to. Now, at this current time, Fiverr is seemingly only to use it for purposes of helping voice actors. But if you guys remember, and I know that Fiverr claims it to be different, but if you remember the logo kind of fiasco. Gary Middleton, thank you so much for the super chat. That's awesome, Gary. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Fiverr Fridays are back. So if you, Gary, you made me smile. Thank you, man. If you look at the logos, if you guys remember, the logos were the number, and they're number one on Fiverr, but Fiverr came out with a logo creator. What they did was they hired logo makers. Now, I don't know if Fiverr bought them out or not, but basically, if you go on a Fiverr and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can get a logo made instantly, or a bunch of options. Now, of course, they're generic, but they're not bad. They're nice, and I guess they had a lot of different samples, or a lot of people coming and paying them. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure if Fiverr. I lost my train of thought there. You see, I try to trail out on you, but I'm not sure if Fiverr's paying them royalties. The logo people are not for that, but I thought that was a big move on Fiverr's part, and probably not something that a lot of the logo people would have liked, because you go do that and it's a fraction of the price. And, you get these logos. Now, again, they're not as unique and tailored to the actual person, but there's a lot of choices, and some people will go for it. And I think that's kind of the same thing that AI voice is doing. I'm not sure how this is going to work. And also, by the way, remember, too, you got to record a lot to get something really well, AI really well. The way it goes, you record your voice, sentences, words, and stuff for a lot of these, and it by using the words, your sentences, your cadences, your sounds, the more you record, the more learning the computer can do. So you've got to record a lot. I mean, some people talk upwards of 10 to 20,000 words or sentences, that you're recording on here to really get a good feel for your voice. But at the same time, you gotta, I don't know how well it's going to work. When I was starting, I thought, hey, we could use it as a way to license our voice, but not to give away free scripts. Here's the thing. I mean, how do we know that they're not going to record it while they're having a robot of our voice read it? So I'm not quite sure how this is going to pan out. But again, just like anything else, it's important for us to pay attention and watch. At the same time, just like Fiverr Studios, that lasted for a little bit and then it went away. So we never know how it's going to turn out or pan out. But I think it is definitely something to keep our eyes on. And with that being said, I do like the future of AI if we can use it as an extension of us in some way, and we benefit off our voices instead of, the computer. But it's always there's always something around the corner, right, that's trying to imitate real people. And but there is uniqueness that I will never be able to truly be imitated. So anyways, so that's my spiel. I just wanted to keep that quick. I'm more interested and excited to hear about your questions and thoughts, and what's going on with you and your business and on Fiverr. And if you got any questions, it can be anything regarding Fiverr. This is the time for you to ask it, post it on here. Let's see. We've got, sorry again. Is it, Willardio, you're the top. Puello from Idio. Puello, thank you. Oh man, from Italy, that's awesome. I want to go to Italy. I mean, you can tell me where I could go in Italy. I've never been. Tom, it's so good, man. Using AI to send samples is not a good way to show clients what you can do. It might be your voice, but it won't have your personality. Exactly. David King AE. I sat the people can just listen to samples or past work. Yeah, I mean, I think Fiverr's trying to again, as always, push the boundary on technology and working online. But I do feel like sometimes if you tinker too much with something that's working, you can break something that's not. I mean, you can break something that's not, or try to fix something that's not broken. You end up breaking it, right? So I don't know. I'm anxious to see if it sticks around or what they do with it and how it even sounds. So to the client, let's see. David King, exactly. No personality anyone can read. I mean, it's again a robot. But other than that, okay. So at this point, if you got any questions or comments about how you can get more work, your things going on with Fiverr, you got a crazy client that won't seem to leave you alone, or you want to know something about my new studio, please feel free to ask questions below. It is the first time, like I said, back in over a year, and things are exciting here because I got my new studio up and running. So if you're new and checking it out, this is the studio part, the editing station where I do my videos and stuff, and then through that door is my full sound booth. I love it. It's like 4x10. I made it bigger just because why not? Bigger is better. So 4x10, and I got everything set up in there. I don't have camera in there yet, so that's the thing. I got to get that fixed. But I'm very excited about how this is and how it sounds. And my mic, I can't find my monitors. They're still packed away in a box, but we will get those. And I do have a lovely window view, although a lot of people have been talking to me about putting up the microphone in the back on that door, so I definitely will. Let's see what else we got on the docket today. We got Mother's Day coming up. I think with that being said, in the holidays, because we've got Mother's Day, we just had Cinco de Mayo yesterday, and then we've got, is it Memorial Day, I think. Just as a real quick reminder, make sure you are getting up your offers as we get closer. So it's so crazy to say this, right? But it's May 6th. So May, June, July, August. I mean, we're July 4th. Then we get into August, September, October. We get Halloween. We get Thanksgiving. We get Christmas. All the big holiday rushes. We're getting closer, right? Business starts picking up. And it's important for us to make sure our offers are out there ready to go for people, like your gigs, your character gigs, different gigs, politics. Here's another thing. If you don't have political stuff up yet, right? Well, again, and this, by the way, Fiverr Fridays, yes, we talk about Fiverr, but we talk about voiceover in general too. So it's important to have multiple different offerings. You want to make sure that you can do you can do well at them, but you want to have multiple offerings available. So, that's important right now, getting set and getting ready for those different moments. May, would, like I said, July 4th is the next one. And from that, you've got back to summer school, summer's coming up, spring, well, spring's already right, but summer vacation. So that's a big marketing for us, right? And, then we go into the fall, which is the big 3-punch fall with Halloween, scary voices and everything, and then with everything going on, it will be nice because I think this year should be most everything is open, so it should be a lot more marketing and advertising dollars going through us to get that out there. Let's see what other questions we got. Fly here says, what content do you add to your gig beyond samples? So you on Fiverr, you have a video that you can put up, and then you can put up 3 different audio samples. So technically you can have 4 audio samples altogether, 1 the video and 3 audio samples. Then you can also put up I believe now it might be more now, but like at least 3 pictures, and then you can put up 2 PDF files, and then of course you have a description, and then you have all the rest of the stuff. So I always like to say, whenever you can present yourself, right, in a manner in which you stick out, right, and we want to say like a more professional manner, showing things like, here's a perfect example. Let's say that you have a hobo fort, all right, or you have packing blankets and PVC pipe, like I have for a couple of years when I first started, like most of us have. And you want to be able to use all the content pieces you can. What I used to do is I took a PDF file, I went on and took pictures of my equipment, right? And I put them in like a collage on my PDF file, and I posted that so people could see what equipment I was using, because I was using that equipment. But as you guys know, perception can be everything. So I didn't feel comfortable taking pictures of me and my hobo fort. So, but the equipment I was using, and you guys know too, right, that a well-treated space, no matter how pretty it looks, is still well-treated. But perception of what a good treated space or what a good space is different than what it actually sounds. So I used to put that up, as well as I think it's important if you have a resume, that's great. If you're new, that's okay. Put down your 3 to 5 steps of how people are supposed to work with you, what your process is, what they can expect from you, what type of work you're trying to accomplish. And these are different gigs too, right? So if you do audiobooks, like I created an entire like a 10-step audiobook process for people, because I was working with a lot of new authors who wanted to self-publish, and they had no idea how to do much of anything. So that was something that I was able to put together and put up. And when you go to look at someone's stuff, right, the more information that is available, the more descriptions, the more cohesive everything is together, the more confident people, or the more confidence people will have in you. And again, this is not just Fiverr. This is your own website. This is whether you're, what you're putting out in the world on social media, anything. The more you have, and the more people know your expectations and what they can expect from you, the more you're going to be trusted, and the more they'll feel comfortable buying from you. All right? Buying online is a lot about trust, but it's a new way of getting trust. Right? The only way we have to be able to trust someone we've never talked to, or will never see in person, is through the brand and through your attention to detail with the content that you put up. Does that make sense? It's a good question. Eric. Let's see. 8628. Hello. Sorry. By the way, people on Facebook, for some reason at the moment, it only shows me Facebook user, so it doesn't show me your name. That's the only thing. Let's see. This person says, "Have a great weekend, sir. A big Olaf from Cancun." Oh, that sounds so nice. That is awesome. Good to have you. Thank you. Let's see. The School of Crop. I can't figure out how to fully use Studio One. It's been rough for me. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been working with Studio One, but every DAW has its own challenges. When I first started, I started with Adobe Audition. That's what I use now for my DAW, and I've just worked with that ever since. But then, in order to, when I was building courses and stuff to help other voice actors, I wanted to create an Audacity course. So like getting on Audacity and learning Audacity and trying to learn all the ins and outs of how I use Audacity like I use Audition is so different. The setup is different. The buttons are different. Everything is different. So that was definitely a real challenge for me to teach myself a whole nother platform. So now Studio One, and in our academy, we have Don Barnes. He does our tech classes in our academy, or he teaches every Tuesday night. And, he's a big advocate for Studio One, and also for, because he uses it. And it's a great platform, but it does take time, and it's important. He's got a good course. He's got some good courses that you can check out. I don't know his website, but I think if you look up Don Barnes and Donnie Barnes, that's his son. They've got some great courses on Studio One and also RX. So I know, like for me, especially if you're using a DAW and it's a DAW, maybe like a free one or something too, you know, the Isotope and the RX editor is really helpful in editing your stuff because you can record, take that stuff, put it into the RX editor, right, or the Isotope editor, and fix it up, you know what I mean, put it back in and render it. It's what I tell a lot of people to do with Audacity as you grow if you want to stay with Audacity. So that's a really good one. It's a really good one. But yeah, I hear you. It's tough learning DAWs, especially how much stuff we need to be able to do, as now we're technically more like our own studios. All right, so let's see. Ada6628 says, thank you for reviewing the document I sent you on Instagram. It would be a good topic for video if you could tell us what to look for in these forms. Thank you. Yes. Okay, cool. So now I know who you are. So actually, and this has been more and more happening recently, where people have been contacting me and say, hey, listen, I've never been asked to sign anything before, like a right to work or an NDA or any of these forms, you know, that a studio or a client is asking me to sign. And it feels, you know, it's like it's a contract and it feels very uncomfortable. You know, I'm supposed to put my name. They might ask me for my phone number or address. They might, you know, I've got to sign it. And there's all like 10 to 20 different things on here. Half of it I don't understand. And so first off, it is very normal and usual for companies to have some sort of agreement, okay, between you and them for a variety of reasons. One can be an NDA, all right, or non-disclosure agreement, which basically is your promise that you're not going to talk about what you're doing. You're not going to release any information. You're not going to share the files or anything that you do, okay, until that is public. Now, once something goes public, NDAs, privacy agreements have no merit anymore because it's public. So it doesn't matter whether you share something or not because it's already out in the public. But what that means is before it goes that, basically it usually is done because people are trying to keep it private until it's released or it's not finished. They don't want, you know, the wrong parts. You know what I mean? There's a variety of different reasons why you'd sign that. Now, the right to work also, remember, these people are also paying, which means that there's a lot of tax. There's a lot of things that you have to do from a business, right? Like sending 1099s, or all, you know what I mean? All kinds of different things that you have to report as well. Fiverr themselves does come with a general clause. If you read the terms of service, it does have a general overall of what you're expected in a contract. But here's the kind of crazy little, it's not a secret, but Fiverr doesn't promote it very much. Yeah, pay your taxes, exactly. And this is what it is. Under the Fiverr terms of service, it clearly states that no matter what, when someone purchases something from us and it is agreed upon through the gig, and we finish that transaction and we're paid, they own all the rights to that outright. If we want it to be different, we have to do it ourselves. We have to have the paperwork. We have to get the signatures on our own. We have to do all of that. Fiverr doesn't make it easy because we have to do that through the platform, right? Because then Fiverr gets angry about that. But a lot of people don't realize that actually, you know, Fiverr offers the commercial rights and the broadcast rights, which were created by Fiverr as a way to add extra products because they needed to find a way to offer rights to clients, right, as royalties, as our intellectual property. But at the same time, how are they going to do that in a manner that was fast without people having to sign documents, without people having to do all this? Well, they came up with these generic ways to do it. It still works. It's still an agreement. But technically, if someone buys your stuff and they don't buy that, they still could use it, and by Fiverr's terms of service, right, they have the right to. you need, but they also say that they also have a department that actually they set up later on for intellectual property and rights, and basically they're like, listen, if you have a dispute or a claim, like someone works with you, maybe they work with you, you do the voiceover, and they're like, we don't like it, and they refuse to pay you, and then they take your voiceover and still use it, right, for business purposes and commercials or whatever. All right, they're stealing from you. Okay, however, you need to make sure that they're very clear about sharing where, what country you're in, what are the laws, did they sign something, you know what I mean? And it's very challenging. So a lot of people do ask me as well, hey, look, should I go into this without with adding your own paperwork? And the answer is, I mean, if you feel comfortable with it, absolutely. But we're definitely seeing more of this. So it is very normal for people to go into contracts with each other over voiceover and, like I said, the right to work, NDAs, etc., for a multitude of purposes. So it's not wrong. It's not unusual. But make sure you read it and you're familiar with what they're saying and follow those rules. And it's not a big deal. Okay. But know your rights and what you have and what you need to do as well. All right. And even getting a template of something that's going to allow you to have those protections yourself, where you can go to Fiverr and you can go and have legally say, hey, listen, this is the paperwork. These are the laws. They signed this. They're doing something clearly illegal. This is my work. Right. Then there you go. You've got something there. But if you don't have that and you still go through with the transaction with them, they own it. They technically own it according to Fiverr's terms of service, even if they don't purchase commercial or broadcast rights and you let them do it, even though Fiverr can penalize you for canceling. However, here's another important note, and we'll move on. Fiverr is very good because they want their terms of service to be upheld and everything. If you contact their customer support and say, hey, listen, there's been a terms of service violation, they're a lot better. I've always gotten way better and more swifter actions and responses when I said, listen, this is a terms of service violation, or someone's bullying me, right? Or someone's acting inappropriate, or someone's threatening, or someone's doing XYZ. They're very good at taking care of that. You just have to reach out to them and use those words, terms of service violation. Right? Be clear about that, because that's something that, they take very seriously. But if you don't, you're probably going to get if you don't say these things, you're going to get generic responses. All right. So anyways, let's see. Donald, what's up? Good morning, Anthony. Happy Friday. Thank you for all you do. Providing you are awesome. Thank you, Donald. I really appreciate that. Facebook user, hey, AP. Yeah, sorry, people on Facebook. If you just put your name too, that would be really helpful. Because for some reason, it's not showing the names. Let's see. Oh, wait, I missed something here. Facebook user says, going to work on my Fiverr stuff this weekend. Should I try to launch my max of 5 gigs right away? Or should I perfect one and move on slowly? Hey, thanks. Great question. So here's my recommendation. As a new beginner, you get 7 gigs that you can post. My recommendation is, get up your first gig and fill everything out. Do it the best that you possibly can, but don't linger, right? Don't linger on it and wonder if it's right. Get a separate pair of eyes. Okay. A VO's Journey Facebook group is very helpful, or you can order, the shameless plug, but you can order a review from me, but you can get, like I said, a lot of eyes in our group. We're very helpful, and check it out, but then get to your next one. More lines in the water, the more opportunities you're going to get, right, to catch fish. So I recommend get your first one up, make sure it's great, but then get the next one up, make sure it's great and best you can do, and then get the third one up. But there's always going to be, depending on whether you're like a really big into, like if you're kind of a perfectionist, or you want to make sure everything's perfect, it can be challenging because you're like, well, I just don't know if it's perfect. I'm not ready. Sometimes you got to kind of move forward and know that wherever you are right now, you're going to be better tomorrow, and you're going to be better a week from now, and a month from now, and a year from now. But whatever you do, don't wait to start that journey. Okay? So get up as many gigs as you can. Make sure each one is filled out properly and it's done the best you can, but get them all up. Okay, so let's see. Relaxation says, good to see you back live. Thank you. Thank you, Walter. Everyone say I have the voice. Real deep, but I have to figure out the DAW. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good morning, Anthony. Happy Fiverr Friday. Thank you for all you do. Thank you again, Donald. Let's see. Hey, JP, what's up? Happy Fiverr Friday from sunny Ireland. Awesome. That's another place I've never been. You know, I've actually never been. That's not true. I've never been out of the U.S. I've been to Canada. Like on a field trip. I think I went up to Toronto when I was in high school, but I've never been out of the U.S. and it would be. I want to travel so many places around the world. So hopefully one day. And Ireland is definitely one of those places. It always looks so beautiful in pictures. Let's see. Pay your taxes. That's right. Sounds like they're almost your partner. I'm not sure what you mean by that. They supply the platform, and you're the actor. Yeah, I mean, they're supplying the marketplace, but it's our jobs to do the work, and they just take their cut for sending traffic to us. But we have to make sure we are focused on the fact that it's our job to protect our business within the parameters that they set for us working through their platform. It's definitely a balancing act. Awesome. Thank you for that long answer. Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, Jim, what's up, man? Good to have you, my friend. Kyle, welcome back, Fiverr Fridays. That's right. Welcome. I'm so excited to be back. Let's see. Vicky Joe's question. Vicky Joe, what was your question, Vicky? Did I miss your question? Well, happy Fiverr Friday, everyone. What's up, Yep, Walter. Happy Fiverr Friday, my friend. Vicky, which one was your question? I'm not sure I see it. All right. Well, listen, Vicky, go ahead and post it again if you had a question. If you guys have any other questions, that'd be great. But I am so excited to having the one you answered. Okay, cool. I'm so excited to have come back and doing Fiverr Fridays again at 1 on Friday. So please make sure, too, that you send questions, leave comments. Let me know if you want me to talk about something. But just as kind of some parting words, remember, no matter what, our businesses are in our hands. All right? Your training is in your hands. Your decision to market and effort is in your hands. So, don't be afraid to push the boundaries and go for it. And don't let anybody stop you. Even if they have things to say about, you or what you're doing, right? Just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Let's see. Eric said, hey, I'm thinking about treating my editing space. Talk about what you have going on in your room. So in my room, so you're looking at your editing space. So I found out when I first set up an editing space, and because you're like, well, why treat your editing space when you have a booth or whatever that's fully treated? What happened was I don't like to mix with headphones. I like to mix with monitors. And when you put up monitors, speakers, but remember, monitors are different than speakers because monitors are built to give you the raw sound of your voice, all right, or the music you're playing through it, where speakers can have added, maybe some added EQ or added boost on higher frequencies or lower frequencies, right? Where monitors, they might come with your ability to do that, but you can set them at 0 to where it's a straight, it's just straight pass through. There's not anything added extra. So it's good for mixing. But when I put up my monitors, I noticed that when nothing was treated, that I got this really big echo with my monitors too. So I needed to treat my space so that I could hear a good sound back at me. And of course, with all the videos and the stuff I do, it's nice to have a little bit of a more treated space. So out here in the editing room, because it is the editing room and not the studio, I wasn't so concerned with putting up lots of insulation. So like, or thick acoustical insulation in my booth. Now, mind you, the walls it's all rock wool in the walls. But in my booth, that's where I decided to put, I had 3.5 inches or so of rock wool along with some thick flannel material that covers that. And then with all my bass traps and more foam to give you that good absorption. But out here, basically I'm using 12 by 12 by 2 inches thick foam panels, and I'm just alternating them. And I also have a bass trap, a bass trap in the corner, which is I think about 2 feet by 4 feet or whatever. And it's one of those. I got it off Amazon. When I was trying different things out, and it's nice. It sits on the floor. You can hang it on a wall, but it's made for a corner. So I got that there, and then I've got just bass traps in the corners of the room, except that corner because it's right by the door. But oh my goodness, the cap. I know, I don't, it's packed away somewhere. I have to find the cap or I got to make a new one, but I definitely need the Fiverr Friday cap. And my shirt, my Fiverr Friday shirt. I have the shirt. I wear it often. People are like, what's your name on your shirt? Like, it's Fiverr Friday. But yeah, so basically, Eric, that's what I'm doing. Putting those acoustics up. For me, this is just as much important as acoustics as it is for the look, right? I love the mix of the black and the charcoal and the purple, and I love the feel of it, and it gave us a lot better sound. But that's what I've been doing, and making sure, and always make sure, especially with deeper voices, you take care of your corners. All right, you take care of the places where sound can just bounce and come back really easily, right? That's why your corners. That's why I use bass traps so much. If you have a higher pitch voice, it's not necessarily as important, but the lower pitched voices are as well. So that is definitely. So that's hopefully that helps out. And also, by the way, real quick. I use, because this was something that challenged me, how do you hang these puppies? So there's a different way. It would be nice if command strips just stuck really well to the back of them. They don't. So you can do one of two things. You can use hot glue and hot glue the command strips to the foam. That works very well, because then the command strips do go to your wall very well. So that does work to hot glue, but that's a lot of extra work. Or you can use, what I like to use is a T-pin. All right, and T-pins are really nice. Do they make a hole in your wall? Yes, but they're very small. So what I like to do is you just need one per piece of foam, and you literally just push it into the wall, and it holds it up forever and a day. It's really fantastic. It could hold up on the ceiling, hold up everywhere. So it said use double-sided Gorilla Tape. Yeah, there's a million different ways. You just got to find something that's going to adhere to the foam and not come off of it without doing too much damage to your wall. So, yeah, good question. Thank you guys for that. Let's see. Brett, what's up, Brett? Brett says, do you have advice or resources for learning the VO industry jargon and technical aspects of speech so I can better critique myself? I feel like I'm in the I don't know what I don't know phase. No, absolutely. So that's a really good. I've never created a vocabulary course or anything like that. All the courses and stuff that we offer in the academy is geared towards helping you through that, and I suppose as you go along you pick up those terms. But definitely, I don't know about a course, but definitely it would be nice to have. Maybe I could put that on that would be a tab, I think, too, wouldn't it? Like we have on A VO's Journey, the Facebook page, we have the podcast, but we also have the rate guide. But technical terms and terms in general. I think I created one for the academy a long time ago. Just vocabulary and things like that to better understand. But we could definitely do something like that. But I don't have a course that just straight up talks about that. But that's a good idea. So appreciate it. I will definitely talk about that, Brett, and figure that out. Thanks. Many of your videos have been very helpful. That's awesome. Thank you, Brett. Eric says, T-pins. Yes, thanks. That's what I needed. Awesome. I'm glad. These things, you can get them anywhere. You know, they're just T-pins. You can from Walmart, buy them from Amazon, wherever. They're everywhere. So, let's see. Sorry, is it? I'm gonna call you D. D. I actually postponed my VO debut because of my space for recording. 4x5 meters, kind of tough to remove all of the reverb there. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. It definitely is. That's some decent sized space. It's again one of those things where I decided in my space, because I built this space, whereas the previous space I had, I had my whisper room, and then the space before that I had my hobo fort, which those were very portable. But this is the first one that I built myself. Well, I had built. I didn't build it. But I decided to leave in my recording booth, leave off the drywall and just keep now by law, I couldn't leave out the drywall here, but in my booth, I could leave out the drywall. And I left out the drywall so that the insulation, the rock wool, because I got rock wool, was exposed. But to cover that, of course, I used a thick flannel material that I'd gotten from the just from a store, a fabric store, to cover it so that there wouldn't have any of those particles in the air while I was there. And then on top of that, I went ahead and used the foam and the bass traps, especially in the corners, and the levels at which I put mounted my TV and stuff were higher. And I've talked about this in a couple of the videos. So I wanted that space. I thought a lot about that space and what the best way to treat it and not go backwards. You know what I mean? And plus, I don't have a lot of issues during the day. So because I'm out in the country a little bit, I don't have a lot of noise. The kids aren't at home. They're at school during the day. No one's really around. I mean, except the animals. Sometimes they make noise, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So you definitely have to work on. My recommendation, if you're trying to get a space, you really need either that rock wool. You need to make panels. Or have it run the whole line of the wall. In my past booth, I used Owens Corning 703 insulation, and I got like the 2x4 rigid boards, so that it wasn't the rollout ones that were rigid. I mean, you still needed to wear gloves, but you could use them and get fabric and cover them, and they could be panels that you could put on the wall, and they were fantastic. You get them in 2 and 4 inches. 2 inches will do great. 4 inches will knock out, and you never have to put anything up ever again if you have 4 inches up. So that's really good. So yeah, it is tough, but I know you can do it. Real Big Mista, the VO vocab. There you go. I like that. The VO vocab. Neil. What's up, Neil? Well, hey, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. How should a newbie, you got a question in, how should a newbie like me calculate a per hour rate? Good call. So there are many different things that per hour. Now, are you talking about, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about both real quick. So when we're talking about rates, let's talk about audiobooks first. Audiobooks have always traditionally been done per finished hour, or PFH. And per finished hour means that if a book is about, like 30,000 words long, okay, then you have about an hour of finished audio runs about 9,300 words according to ACX. I always round it closer to 10,000 words just because it's easier for me to calculate, right? But so if you got 30,000 words, you're a little over 3 hours. And so that's actually finished work. But that's the reason why we call it finished work, is because the actual time it takes you to do that, could be 3, 4, 5, 6 hours per finished hour. Depending on how well you read without making errors, depending on editing, depending on your space, depending on how much you have to go through and change things, depending on how you read. Some people read with a dog clicker, where they read through it. If they make a mistake, they use the dog clicker because it makes a very distinctive wave on your, like a very distinctive look on your DAW, so they can go back. But some people like me, I use the punch and roll to at that time, I kind of a modified punch and roll method to where I just edit everything as I go. So when I'm at the end, I'm just running it through my processes. I don't have to go back through everything again because it just takes so much time. So it's either whether you do it on the front end or the other end. But anyways, that's how much. And usually industry standard, you go between $200 to $300 per finished hour. Okay. Now, when it comes to, it looks like you said e-learning. I just saw that. So when it comes to the e-learning role, e-learning is usually can be calculated, like per word, you know what I mean, or whatever. So most of the industry at this point is basically per word. A lot of the industry used to be mainly you would charge a studio fee. Like if today you're going to record for 3 hours in the studio, you might charge $300, $100 an hour for the studio fee. And then the recordings themselves, that was your intellectual property. So then you would be paid based on, you'd be paid royalties or for the right to use your work. Okay, and you'd be paid more depending on whether it was local, whether it was regional, whether it was national or international, right? You'd be paid more money, and over time, it was based on the time of distribution. But a lot has changed. That's still done, and with a lot of bigger jobs, especially with the companies that have contracts with SAG-AFTRA and things like this. But a lot of the non-union work now doesn't happen that way. So with e-learning and everything, the general idea is that you're going to have a price per 100 words, 150 words, per 25 words, per whatever, you know what I mean? You set that price. When I first started, I'll never forget, I was thinking the same thing. I asked my wife, I was like, well, how much do I charge? She's like, well, how much do you make an hour? Right now. And at the time when I was teaching, I was making like $25, $30 an hour. I was like, okay, well, that's what I make an hour. So like, okay, I charge that. But as I started doing my voiceover, I realized that's not what we do. We charge all of us charge a variety of different things. But I do have I do have a rate guide on the website, A VO's Journey, that goes through a whole bunch of different things, especially for beginners, intermediate, and advanced, right? Because I think nothing ever is said a lot about beginners. So to answer your question, Big Mista, I love that name. For me personally, I charge $50 for 100 words, period. So if the e-learning job is 2,000 words, then that's what, $500? Is that right? Something like that. I think so. I charge them, and then I charge rights for them to buyout rights, whether using that for commercial purposes or broadcasting it, via ad channels or whatever. But yeah, I pick my price. A lot of people start off. People start at all kinds of different places. On Fiverr, the whole idea of that platform used to be to start at $5, but that's not what the platform is anymore. A lot of people start at that price, and I'll tell you exactly why they start at that price. Because when you're first starting, you don't have any. What do you're going up against, a lot of people. Price is a marketing tool. Okay. And I think this clearly, as we've seen over the last couple of days, price is still a big deal to a lot of people. And I understand. So I always say that it's your business, though, and you decide what you want to charge. But just be aware, any business owner will tell you price is a marketing tool. All right. It is a marketing tool. So I can't tell you what exactly to charge. There is no hard, fast rule. But if you check out my rate guide, that gives you some ideas in general. But I told you what I charge. But when I first started, I think I was charging $5 for $150 when I first started. And I did that for a couple of years. But then as I grew more busy and clients started coming to me, I started raising my prices. $10, $15, $20. I started raising my rates. So, now most of the jobs I do, none of them are under $100 a job. They're all over that, or very close to it. So, you're going to grow, but starting out, you got to get business somehow. So, that's always a touchy subject. People will agree and many people will disagree. But in the end, I always say, listen, it's your business and your decision. That's my stance. Hope that helps, man. Did my first Fiverr job this morning. Congrats. That is great news. That is great news. Well, thank you, everybody. I think that was a good question to end on. And again, make sure you hit that subscribe. And also, we've got that special going on for the Academy right now below with 50% off the first month. If you're interested, there's a link. Check it out. Other than that, you guys are awesome. Thank you for stopping by for our first Fiverr Friday in a long time. And I will be live next week. Have a great weekend and happy Mother's Day. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.